How many clubs in the wine sphere, Ed, can say the wines featured in 1978?
One.
And so, listen to this. Listen to these.
Okay, listen to this.
The white was Le Fleuron from Joseph Phelps, non-vintage.
Okay.
Now, Bruce Nyer was in here.
Bruce Nyer.
He was the sales manager for
Phelps. That's
Phelps
right.
at that time.
Yep.
It's very likely he sold my dad that wine.
Probably.
And we have a nice video online of Bruce Nyer me interviewing Bruce because his first soiree into wines in Napa was in 1969 after the, I guess he was in the Korean War. Anyway, but the red, Masson Dubois, Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, that was.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
But that's the second. That was the second Châteauneuf-du-Pape we featured in '78. We had two of them in '78. Go do one now.
Yeah, were they $70, $80 a bottle now?
Well, I mean,
for a good one.
Well, for a good one, yeah, you can buy one for $40, but I wouldn't drink it.
I wouldn't drink it either because they're not so good. Okay, here you go.
I keep telling you, you got the wrong end on. Now put it away. Here, give me some wine.
Oh.
But he can't get it off.
All right, welcome to the Vintners series for November 2018. We're a little behind here, but we like to send these videos out after everybody's received their wines anyway, so we're not really that late.
No, we really are not that late.
Whereas from the classic series, we had a lot of wines from Paso and a winery called Broken Earth. We have a really huge spectrum of wines in the classics in the Vintners series, not the least of which is a Voskehat.
Voskehat.
From Armenia.
Household word in my house.
And we poured this the other night at the wine tasting. Folks, if you haven't had a chance, you're ever in the neighborhood on the first Saturday of the month, we have a members tasting here. It's actually quite fun and quite crowded. And we tasted this wine the last one, November tasting. It was a huge hit. People were like, what? Armenia, what? And after all, Ed, it is the site of the oldest intact winery ever found, which is 6,000 years old.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Not the oldest place that wine was ever made, but the oldest place that they actually find what looks like could be a winery.
Right. There's shoes, there are sandals, there's amphoras, there's fermentation tanks.
Right.
Now, I have been to Armenia, and I've tasted the wines, and we'll talk about that when we get there. So thanks for coming, Ed, and that's the end of the show.
Wait a minute. I think we have some wines to taste. That could be the end of the show right there.
I can tell you, one of the things that's happened here with the advent of our specialty clubs of Pinot Noir, Bordeaux, Napa, and Rosé Club is tasting more Bordeaux, and I am having a blast with it. And this is one that emerged from all those tastings. We're not putting in the Bordeaux Club. We put it in the Vintners series because of the price. Though I think it's Cuvée Spéciale, Château Blanc.
It's kind of, Bordeaux is,
I think it's 100% Merlot as well. No, 80 Merlot.
No, it's 80. Yeah, and it's not 100% Merlot, but it's a right bank wine. The fact is,
explain right bank. Right bank is the right side of the Gironde. In fact, I was looking at the map the other day, and when the Dordogne and they split. And they get so far down, they're no longer than left and right, right?
No, because they're far apart. And then in the middle of it is an area called Entrée de Mer, which means between two seas, because they're actually rivers, but they're very large rivers, and you could call them a sea. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, this is from our friend Claire.
Oh, right.
She's one of my French teachers, so to speak. She comes on Tuesdays at 2:00, and she stays for an hour and speaks with me, so it's great. But this is. I like this. It's sort of a new world Bordeaux. It's kind of bright, fruity, got things going on.
It's still got Bordeaux earth
but the nose
to
is
it.
the Bordeaux nose, right?
Still Bordeaux, I mean, Bordeaux is the largest fine wine area in the world. I mean, they make, what do they make? 170
well, there's
million?
10,000 Château.
Well, there were until 2013. I mean,
tax issues.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was such a bad vintage that, and I put that into the Bordeaux, one of the Bordeaux. It was such a horrible vintage that something like 600 wineries, Chateaus went out of business.
Well, when we were there in Lafitte in May, we left We flew to Nice to go to Monaco. That day we got to Monaco, we turned on the news, and a hailstorm had come through south of Pauillac. Actually, I maybe it was Entre de Mer, and had just like a swath stripped the whole thing, all the vines clean. When we were there, beautiful green, the bud break. There was even some clusters starting, and then wherever this hailstorm, which was very defined, went through, stripped it to brown. Nothing, zero.
Well, it was a very, very controversial vintage because one of the big guys in Bordeaux, one of the big consultants who consulted for the winery that you featured a few times, Clos Monacour.
Oh yeah.
He came out and said it's a horrible vintage. There are no good wines made in that vintage, and of course everybody got all over him because how can you say that? You're going to ruin our business today. And he said, look. Nobody made good wine. I don't care who you were or where you were, because it was everything that could go wrong went wrong. Everything.
Remember 2006.
2006 was great vintage.
No, what vintage are you talking about?
2013.
Oh, 13.
Yeah. And
I was talking about
2015.
2018.
Oh, 2018. Oh, yeah, I heard about that, but that just did a small amount.
So now here's what I learned about that: that some of these vines will come back and produce grapes still,
right,
but they won't have the quality that the original grapes would have had. And I found that very interesting.
Well, yeah, primarily because they're going to have a shorter time on the vine
to mature.
So
it's sugar. This is a 97. I'm going to say 95, 97.
Yeah.
For me, it's for Bordeaux anyway at $25.99, and then you get more for $17.49. It's pretty really inexpensive.
No, you get more for $12.99. It's
I'm sorry, $17.48. You
you
pay $25.99 on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
And this is going to be a hard one to find on the shelf because Claire's quite a prolific vendor, and she's focused on the West Coast. And then $12.99 for more for Bordeaux. Are you kidding? It's changing as we sit here.
It's amazing how consistent these wines are. I mean, you don't taste too many really bad Bordeaux's, and I think.
Oh, I disagree, mon frère.
I don't know about
Au contraire, mon
No,
frère.
because they have a reputation to live down to.
This is another wine from Claire.
Yes.
This is the Les Frangins from Périgord.
The two brothers.
It's what Viognier and
we featured their Rouge.
This nose is amazing.
This is Marsanne, Roussanne.
Uni Blanc, Semillon, and Sauvignon Blanc. Uni Blanc. So Uni Blanc being the grape of Cognac, one of the grapes of Cognac, and then Semillon and Sauvignon Blanc being the grapes of Bordeaux. But this is from the south, and this nose is blowing me away.
Well, because I said I thought it was Roussanne and Marsanne because that's what it smells like. Mm-hmm. It's very floral. Very, very floral.
It's got the nose of the Roussanne Marsanne, but it's got the finish of the Sauvignon Blanc and the Semillon. And I'm not getting that Semillon tropicalness all over it, or the body from Semillon, but I'm getting that wonderful crisp.
Well, one of the components that's in here that you get from Semillon is that little fig, and you do get a little bit of that on the nose. It's a delicious wine. I mean, $22.99 on the shelves, $11.99.
Really
I'm at
good.
98 on this. This is
excellent.
really nice.
And boy, talk about shellfish.
Yeah, well, any kind of fish. Well, you could have this with chicken too. I mean, you could have this with veal.
This is a natural cork that's been treated on the edge.
And there you have it.
I'm going 97 for sure.
Me too.
With veal, interesting.
Yeah. Well,
Like a bechamel sauce. Man, the other day I made that prime rib that I got from Restaurant Depot, and then I made Escoffier's bechamel. Threw in some horseradish in there, reduced it a little more.
Oh,
man,
that's a good call.
So good. Oh, I love that. No, I can just smell that.
That wine's delicious, and it's so atypical of that blend, So, we're back to California, Paso Robles Merlot.
Don't laugh. I have people that say that.
I'm not laughing.
Accoutre.
I believe this wine was originally going to be a reserve, but they for some reason didn't call it reserve, and it is. I mean, it's because their regular Merlot, which we featured.
It was a barrel select.
Yeah,
it was an elevated barrel select.
This is a
Boy,
bigger.
this is amazing.
This is a bigger, richer wine.
Let's see, petit filet and red sauce dishes. This is.
Ooh, wow.
pretty effusive
Man, oh
wine.
man. You know, it's interesting.
Kind of reminds me of 100% Merlot
We,
Bordeaux.
we tasted the Merlot in the Classic Series, which came from the same vineyard, but this is obviously a more elevated wine. You know, I mean, it's mind-boggling. But it's also a different vintage too.
It's a 13.
Yeah, the other one was 12. So, you know, I mean, the vintage rules, man. I don't care who says what. You know, the vintage is always going to win out.
You know, it's more obvious after 30 years of doing this, and you've been doing it longer. The more you hear that, and the more you study it, and the more you taste for it, the more obvious it is.
Right.
The vintage and the soil. That's it. Now, if a wine's doctored up, like for instance, when I went to see Don Galliano and things, and he takes a wonderful Zinfandel out of one of his redwood vats, and it's orange. It's only been in the vat for a year and a half, 2 years, but the thing is orange. It's already turning color. But the wine was great, and I told him, I said, Don, I really can't sell this wine with this color. He goes, no problem. So we went in the lab, and this is a true story. He opens the refrigerator. There's nothing in it except one little bottle of Big Red, or whatever it's called.
Right, yeah, Mega Red.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
And then he takes a drop,
Whoop,
and it turns
boom,
its color. And I go, man, I can't sell that wine like that.
Why?
So if the wine hasn't been doctored up, played with, sigillated.
Wait a minute. Okay, define doctored up.
I go to the doctor. He puts on the vinyl gloves.
Okay, fine. But the fact is, Mega Red is wine. It is not a chemical. It is made from reduced down wine. You know, and
so is the grape sugars. You know, if you add sugar in California to wine, you must use reduced grape sugar. But still,
you can't add sugar to wine in California. You can add acid. It's against the law to add sugar.
You can't add grape sugar?
No, you can add sweet wine to it.
Oh, that's right.
But you can't add sugar.
Yeah.
Okay. Just like in Europe, they can add sugar, but they can't add acid.
I need an acid.
So do I. for this podcast.
This is a 98. This is one of the best wines I've
Absolutely
tasted in a long time.
Delicious wine.
And it's $24.99 on the shelf, $17.48 for more.
$17
for the first one.
No,
$12.99 for more. I have to recommend this more often.
I do too. I'll recommend it now.
I recommend the Accoutre. Here's, I think, the star of the show for uniqueness.
I'll be a judge of that.
Okay, so first, it's ArmAs is the winery. It's written in Armenian letters, and of course, in my indigenous upbringing, I can read that because it says ArmAs right there. So, but it is those are the Armenian letters for that, which I find challenging because she puts it like that. It's a beautiful package, but you put that on the shelf in Vons, and who's going to buy this because you can't read it, right?
Because you can read it.
But I poured this at the tasting last month, and people flipped over it. It's a grape you're never going to... And what I told them was this. You're never going to taste this again in your life.
I know.
You're never going to walk in the store, and the guy's going to tell you, I should recommend this Voskehat. But you should taste it because it's just so interesting. And it's Vinous vinifera. It's all part of the major...
It's a vinifera grape?
Yeah.
Wow. I'll tell you one thing, it is unique.
And that's what the beauty of the wine is that you don't say, oh, it tastes like Sauvignon Blanc, or it tastes like Chardonnay. It can't, because it isn't.
No, it's spectacular.
It's flinty. There's a lot of volcanic soil in Armenia, including, if you drive down the road, there's huge boulders of obsidian.
Really?
Yeah, and it's against a lot of touch it. But beautiful black rocks like this that you can put in your suitcase, take home. Isn't that great, though?
Really delicious wine. $22.99 on the shelf.
We'll just serve this with.
$12.99, $12.49, and the reorder price is $11.99. And boy, you could serve this. You could serve this with veal. You could serve this with pork.
Yeah,
because the acidity,
right? It's got enough acidity.
Can grab onto the meat. You could even serve this with any kind of meat, really. Game, pheasant,
for
duck.
sure, duck. Oh, that'd be great with duck.
Yeah.
Speaking of duck,
I
don't have a duck head.
I'm in a 97. Yeah.
97. I'll go 97. We visited Lisa's restaurant where she works now in New York called Benno. He's going after some Michelin stars. And I had the duck. It was incredible. But her bread came out. She's made this in a pasta machine. She makes this cracker that's got a little bite to it at the end, a little red pepper. But it comes in a flower vase. it sticks out like
Yeah,
this, and there's like all
right.
these things like that. It's incredible and very thick.
So it's like a breadstick.
Yeah, but it's this
Right.
pasta
right.
thick.
Yeah.
And then she brings out, she made individual baguettes, sourdough wheat.
Mmm.
And just, they're phenomenal. She got all mad the other day because she made 1.5 for every cover that they had on the books, and they sold out. So the next day she made 3 times that amount, and they had a whole bunch left over.
Well, too bad somebody has to take it home. Okay, that's our show for today. Vintner Series for November 2018. And this is, again, the Wine of the Month Club?
Cheers.
Yeah. How long have we been in business?
The original wine of the
Oh, the original, yeah, as opposed to the unoriginal Wine of the Month Club.